one of my other favorites of yours is one where you had a story by credit on. And I think that I have a human aid to help me out with this one.
A human aid.
A human aid, yes. If I can get
It's
this.
it's better than the Gatorade.
Gatorade for
Oh
sure.
my God. Oh, do we have a surprise guest? Hey, Michael.
Hello, hello.
There he is. Can you rotate your camera for me?
Oh, sure. This way?
That way? And it's not working.
Uh-oh.
But there we go.
How's this? How's this? Is this better?
It is Michael Welch, ladies and gentlemen, of Fragile Balance fame.
My goodness, long time no see, buddy.
Yeah, how have you been the last 20 years, Peter?
My erectile dysfunction has been handled. Thank you for asking. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was a big concern.
It was a big concern of mine as well. You look like a grown-up now.
He is a grown-up.
Well,
thanks for pointing that out, David.
I tried cloning myself again to just keep going through high school, but I don't have the technology that the Asgard have, so I couldn't quite pull it off. So I got to just
man. I tell you what, that would have been a great spinoff. Watching O'Neill go through high school again. Holy crap! It's elements of big and sci-fi all in the one, right?
This is one of my favorite episodes. Go ahead, Michael.
No. Well, I was just going to say, Peter, do you remember we spoke? Hi, by the way, good to see you. We spoke about, I don't know, a year or so later. You called me and had an idea for not a spinoff, but an additional episode. And I forgive me, I don't remember the details, but it had to do with they needed Jack's brain power squared for some reason because of a super complicated mission. It was actually a really cool idea. Do you remember what that was? What that idea was that you guys were working on?
It was called You Ain't Jack, and I think it involved Mayborn.
Oh, You Ain't Jack. I see. I wish I could recollect what you're talking about. Today is 420. Just kidding. I don't celebrate. But I do not barely remember Jack, let alone that concept. So you're saying that they wanted to call about your availability, or why was I calling you?
I just remember like you guys were sort of ruminating about this idea, just bringing the character back as a one-off for a particular mission where they needed Jack's brain power
specifically.
Yeah. They needed his skill set for whatever reason. But anyway,
okay,
at the time though, I was.
Let me tell you what I think happened. Let me tell you what I think happened. I think that we were in the room spinning a story, and one of the ideas that came up was, well, there is a perfectly identical copy of Jack's brain in the form of Jack clone. And you were the actor who played Jack clone. And so rather than go down the road of investing in that story and then being vulnerable to the idea that maybe you weren't available, I think I may be filling in the blanks retroactively. If you were not available, then we would not have investigated that option. Were you available at the time?
I was on a TV show at the time. I very soon after that.
You inadvertently, through your success and talent, subverted our story by not being available. And you've got your own talent to thank for that.
No, it's he was on Joan of Arcadia, I believe, at the time, and I was watching it with a number of other Stargate fans as well, and we were loving it. It was a good show.
Yeah, that was I watched that too, not realizing that you were on it, and I was like, he's really good, and he's not imitating anybody; he's just being himself. That's fantastic.
Peter, can you tell us about, and Michael, chime in, of course, about turning Michael into Rick, in terms of mannerisms, in terms of, how do you dial that in? How did you guys make that happen?
I watched your interview, Michael, and you were very, very sweet to give me so much credit. But you to your credit, you were open and available and ready, and you were an incredible mimic. And you're right, you were brought up early. We had you watch the tapes. We wanted you to tune in to his, be sensitive to his meter, because Richard Dean Anderson has a very specific meter in a very wry sense of humor in the way that he tells jokes. And did I ever tell you the 2-finger rule? I probably told you this, but you may have forgotten. There's a 2-finger rule where if Richard says more than 2 fingers, the dialogue in the script, you got to break it up. He only does 2 fingers at a time, right? And those were witty couplets that he was able to get into, right? Oh, let me guess, magnets. That's only 2 fingers worth of space on the page, right? Okay, so you mercifully, you only had to do 2 fingers worth of stuff at a time because that's how he speaks, right? And so I think we watched it together. I think I talked to you about what the Asgard Greys were and the fact that they were disguised themselves as mythologically as the Norse mythology on the show. And you were, I imagine that's why I was so excited to, and I love the sound of my own voice, but that's why we sat so long and hung out and talked about that. And I think you talked about the thing, right? Which is something that Richard Dean Anderson would always do. If you were starting to babble scientifically, he'd be like, that's where magnets came from too. It's like, he would just say magnets as a catch-all for an explanation of anything that was scientific, right? Magnetic, he just go magnets. And I go, no, it's not. It's not. Next time, it's not magnets. No. But when you went like this, that was exactly how he would handle. Please stop with the babbling and just speak regular English for the rest of us, the Philistines. And you did it perfectly. And when that happened, and I think Richard was excited about the idea of having to deal with you. Also, you're a very handsome man, and I can say that because I'm married, and nobody will suspect that there's anything untoward of that. But you kind of look like you could be Richard Dean Anderson at an earlier age. Although honestly, you're much more handsome than he was when he was that age. Do you know that he rode across the country on a bicycle?
I mean, no, but I would be surprised if he hadn't done that. I mean, that sounds exactly right.
Yeah. So he was an incredible athlete, hockey player, but not a lot of people know this. He rode all the way across the country on a bicycle, and his taint started like this, and then it went. I got.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, Richard. People have to know. The wardrobe had to be made aware of it because the pants didn't fit right. I'm kidding. I take it all back. I'm trying to be silly. I'm trying to. This is the kind of humor that I would use to try to ingratiate myself to a young Michael Welch. But he's way beyond that. He sees through me.
No,
so when you came up and you said, I've been given several days early, right? So they had to put you up. They had to put you in front of a TV with a bunch of videotape that we were watching videotape back then, right?
Yep.
And we didn't have YouTube, as you pointed out. You were correct to keep the audience honest about what kind of research you had available to you. And honestly, you had none. You couldn't unless you were tuning into the program when it was your regularly scheduled program. You could not have known what he was like on the show.
Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. You can find the full live stream shows on our YouTube channel or visit dialthegate.com for the complete schedule. See you on the other side.